بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Before we proceed with our normal talks, the advice of Hazrat Maulana Masihullah Rahmatullah Alayhi, one important mas'ala regarding our salah. I did mention this before, but it will refresh your memories. If you're making a 4 rakats farad salah or 3 rakats farad salah, Maghrib, Isha, Zuhr, Asr, and after 2 rakats you forgot to sit. So if you are close to a standing position, then you carry on, stand up straight and continue with the salah. You don't need to come back into the sitting posture. And then of course at the end of the salah you have to make the sajda sahu. So if a person after 2 rakats, instead of sitting, you stood up and you almost in a standing position, then you carry on. You don't come back into the sitting posture. Make the 4 rakats and make the sajda sahu at the end, and the salah will be valid. So likewise, if you're behind the imam, if the imam forgets to sit after 2 rakats of the farz salah and he stands up, then the muqtadi should follow the imam, and he will not come back into the sitting posture, and of course he makes the sajda sahu at the end. But in the sunnat salah, the matter is different there. So if you're making a 4 rakat sunnat, like before asr, before dhuhr salah, and you didn't sit after 2 rakats, then you stood up, then you must come back into the sitting posture, your attahiyat, then you get up, make the other 2 rakats, and then also you will make sajda sahu at the end. So this is for the sunnat. So remember that in the farz salah, if you stood up after 2 rakats, you don't need to come back. If you do come back, salah is valid, and sajda sahu will still compensate for the mistake. But you don't need to. But in sunnat salah, you must come back, sit down, read your attahiyat, and then carry on, make the other 2, and make sajda sahu at the end. In this particular malfuz, or the statement of Hazrat Maulana Masihullah Rahmatullah, he says here that a Muslim must never compare himself in worldly matters to the kuffar. Don't judge yourself in the light of how the kuffar live. Now this is important for us because everyone who lives in a non-Muslim country, you grow up among kuffar. We all from birth, we grew up in the kuffar system, kuffar environment. We live with them, we see how they lived. And many of us, our lifestyles are almost like the kuffar, the way we live, the houses we live in, the business we do. So it's important for us to understand there's a difference between the mu'min and the kafir. So Hazrat says that don't compare yourself to the kuffar, that what is good for them is also good for you. And he gives a very nice example. Among the animals, you take the pig. So what does the pig live on? The pig eats dirt. All dirt it eats, excreta, and that's how it develops. Now if you take the other animals, the cow, the sheep, if they must start eating that dirt, they will get sick and die, they will never develop. So exactly the mu'min, the kafir can eat haram. A mu'min cannot survive on haram. In other words, his iman will not survive on eating haram, consuming haram, living in a haram way, doing business in a haram way. As I said, that our survival of iman, the imani survival, it depends on the a'mal we do. It has to be good a'mal. And a'mal is not only what you do in the masjid, in your business, in your work, students going to school, in traveling, wherever you are a Muslim, so you got to practice the proper a'mal. So if you're traveling, you're going somewhere, so the kuffar are enjoying that particular place, it doesn't mean that, okay, I can do the same also. And those Muslims who made this mistake of wanting to do the same as the kuffar, the consequences we can see, their iman is at risk, is in jeopardy. So Hazrat says here that what is good for them is not necessarily good for us. And Allah has made the difference, and we must be proud of this difference. So living in that non-Muslim society, you must not feel out of place. You should be strong on your iman and be proud to practice your deen. Dress in your Islamic way. Do your good amal in front of whoever it is. We don't say, well, we're in the different environments, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't make my salah here. Like some people, when they travel, if they don't get a Jamaat Khan or Musalla to make salah, they'll rather make in qada, because they don't want to make the salah in front of others. Whereas whoever you are, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, one of the features of this ummah is, Allah made the whole earth a musalla for them. You don't need to be in a particular room or particular masjid or building. And he says that one of the features of this ummah is that wherever the time of salah finds them, they make their salah there. So this is what we need to understand, living in a non-Muslim environment, a kuffar environment. So we will not survive the way they are surviving. That's why people ask the question, they say that these kuffar, they became rich through all the haram activities they do, the haram business, the riba and all these things, gambling and whatever. So we can't survive if we don't do the same. That is a false, it's a false concept, it's a false notion. This is what shaitan puts in our minds. Our survival and our honor and dignity in this dunya, it comes only through practicing our sharia. Allah make it easy for us. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.